So in my classes that focus on theories of international relations, I notice that my students really suffer from two main problems. The first is they can't relate the theories to real life, and the second is they have a really hard time understanding the differences between the three theories and being able to compartmentalize them. And so I've developed a couple of different activities in order to help students really understand these theories a lot better. The first one I use is the board game Risk. And in my smaller classes we often play the game, but usually what I do is in the larger classes is I assign each student a country, and depending upon their size of the country and where they're located, they have to determine what their next move is going to be in the game. And usually what happens is through the course of playing a few rounds of this, students end up breaking out into war, which is exactly what you would expect to happen, especially since the board is set up to resemble the conditions prior to World War I. And that's what happened with World War I. And so the benefit of this activity is that students are able to place themselves in the role of the leader or the decision maker and have to make decisions based upon an arbitrary environment that they find themselves in with no real defined rules and no law. And so it's a really good activity because we can then take that activity, talk about what happened during World War I, and relate it back to a real life situation. And it gives the students a lot more clarity with regard to how these theories might apply in real life to help explain situations. And then the second thing that I do when students have a hard time understanding the differences between the theories is I use a simulation which I modified from a book that I read by Daniel Dresner called Theories of International Relations and Zombies. In this simulation, I give the students a scenario, and they are a country that is adjacent to a country that is facing a zombie apocalypse. And the students have to decide what they're going to do in order to resolve the situation. They don't know if it's a real threat or not, but they have to determine a plan of action for how they might resolve this potential threat to their country. And they have to do it from each one of the perspectives of the three theories. And so they'll end up having a plan of action for what realism says is going to happen, what liberalism says will happen, and what constructivism says will happen. And because they've had to compartmentalize these theories and think through them so specifically, it gives them a much clearer understanding of each one of those theories. And so through both of these activities, I'm able to make sure that students have a better understanding of the theories and also how you can apply those things to real life as well.